living in a world gone geek. It's time to geek hard or go home. The podcast is real. Here's your host, Grounded Geek.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. It is The Podcast is Real from World Gone Geek, right here on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook for your viewing pleasure. We are here to talk about some pop culture stuff and have a good time. That's what we do every Sunday night right here, and we're grateful that you came to join us today. We're very excited about tonight's show. However, I do have to start with a little bit of a caveat. So right now, our guest for tonight has not arrived yet. So we're hoping that he will show up in the little windows down here at the bottom. The good news is he did sign. He's been responsive. He signed the release. He even shared the promo, but something may have come up. I haven't heard from him today. He's not in the link down here like we had hoped. So we're going to talk about some other pop culture stuff in the meantime, and hopefully he will show up. And if he does, we're still going to interview him. If not, we're going to do our best to reschedule. He's very accommodating. He wants to do these shows and stuff. So we're looking forward to trying to get him on the show again if that doesn't work out. But hopefully you'll still tune in and stay tuned, because I do have two other people along that I'm very fond of, Utah and Aaliyah. Welcome to the show.
Hey.
What is going on?
What you got?
What are you doing?
Is that your bifocal?
No. Hey, is that a joke about me being old and you bifocals, Aaliyah?
Pork chops an episode.
Okay, that was an inside joke no one else is going to get now. But actually, anybody who's as old as I am and watched Andy Griffith's show back in Vegas, when that was from, what's his face?
Brady Bunch, wasn't it?
No, you're right, Brady Bunch.
Brady Bunch.
It was Bobby,
was it Bobby?
Or one of the Peter. Was there a Peter?
Oh, it was the middle one. The middle one's Peter.
Would constantly. I've suddenly forgotten their names. That's terrible. Peter, Greg, and Bobby. Right? Were the boys.
And Bobby. So it was Peter. The middle.
It was this
one.
impression of some actor. Who was the actor? I don't even remember. Anyway,
I don't remember. But
have you ever seen the Brady Bunch, Aaliyah?
Yeah, I have.
Okay,
but I've seen more of Andy Griffith than I have.
I'm telling you, Andy Griffith is one of the greatest shows that ever existed. It really is.
Yes.
It was so pure and wholesome and fun and just I don't know. Not every
all the way
episode
up until it went to color.
When it went to color, it went downhill. That's when it jumped the shark.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. But literally, my parents, my mom and dad, because my dad's from West Virginia, so they will sit, in their little basement area, and my dad will have his phone propped up, and they'll be eating dinner down there, like the old cute couple watching Andy Griffith, and I love it.
I love it too.
On their phone.
Yeah, on the phone. They don't watch. They don't have a TV down there. Yeah, they have a TV in their bedroom, but they opt to watch it on his phone.
Probably on a tiny little screen.
Because of the streaming services on his
phone,
but not
probably.
Do they not have a Roku or a device? That now you've got a Christmas gift idea though, Aaliyah, for your folks.
Maybe that's very true.
A Roku or a Fire TV or something. I don't know.
Fire TV,
something.
Don't know what the Fire TV.
That's the Amazon version. There's an Amazon one. Yeah.
So is it like a broken one?
Broken. Was that a dig at Amazon? That was
No. Wow.
No, but it is phallic shaped, if that means anything.
Wow. much like Jeff Bezos' spaceship.
Yeah, I was going to say, did anybody get that joke? I don't know.
No. Like when everybody says like a broken fire stick.
Oh, like jailbreak.
The legal one.
They jailbreak it. And
jailbroken.
Oh. I gotcha.
Is it a broken one?
Not if you buy it directly from Amazon. It's not. But you can apparently
But if you want,
we are not
advocating.
This is where the little disclaimer, I should have had one ready down at the bottom of the screen. Work on Geek does not approve or condone the jailbreaking of devices for entertainment purposes.
Opinions expressed by the host are their own and not World on Geeks.
Especially Aaliyah. Especially
Aaliyah. Aaliyah speaks for herself.
We would love to have Amazon as a sponsor, so please do not take
that.
It's
a joke.
I know.
Thank you, Mr. Bezos.
Yeah. Anyway, that sounds like it would be a good Christmas gift. Then they can hook it up to the TV and watch the same stuff. They don't have to watch.
And they can watch Andy Griffith on the big screen.
I'll tell you, it's funny. The things that people will do. My wife and I sometimes go to just to get out of here. Sometimes you just got to get out, you know. And we
just
go,
open the door and walk.
no, we get in the car. But we go to Swenson's, and we'll have like a Swenson's date, and we'll be parked at Swenson's, and I have a phone charger that's like in the center of my console, and I turn it sideways, and we'll watch a show and eat at Swenson's, like a little drive-in, movie theater game.
I love that.
We've done that before, so it's not. I mean, there's that's on a little tiny phone, and it's fun. It's just about being together and enjoying the
that's
stuff.
sweet.
So it's great what your folks are doing. That's awesome.
Just don't do that with Squid Game. Squid Game's on a good date.
Yeah. No, don't do not watch Squid Game on a date. No. That is definitely not a Netflix. And it's on Netflix, but it is not a Netflix and chill show.
It is totally different. Opposite of chill.
Okay.
I'm still trying to get.
But Utah has literally indoctrinated Jeff into watch. Yes, you have indoctrinated Jeff into watching.
I have done nothing.
No, the world has. I mean, it is the number one show on Netflix, possibly the number one show ever on Netflix. Like it's approaching or maybe it's already past it, but it is possibly going to be the number one streamed show ever on Netflix, and that alone was enough to get me going. But I also very much love some of these movies and TV shows that come out of Korea. I mean, there's some super creative shows and really good stuff. I really enjoyed, Snowpiercer and Parasite from the same director from
Train
Korea.
to Busan was one of them.
Yes, I haven't seen that one yet. That's the one with the zombies.
What was it?
Right?
It is Train to Busan. Yeah. It is, in my opinion, one of the best zombie movies ever made.
I gotta watch it. Now,
really, I mean, it's
and now this show is just so good. Oh my gosh. But it is not for the squeamish. It will leave you really thinking about it for days after the social commentary. And again, I think that's what I find so fascinating in some of these Korean productions like Snowpiercer and Parasite. They really examine like that the classes and the different way that people are treated. And it's just a really, really interesting in their art. This is what is coming through in their television and movie that are coming out of that country. I love it. It's great. Squid Game is so good. You will be broken after episode 6. I'm just going to give you a heads up. But oh my gosh.
that episode broke me.
It's hard for me to watch this because this one I was very invested in Alice in Borderland.
That's supposed to be really good.
Now, it was really good.
I haven't watched that. Is that Korean or is that Japanese?
I believe that it is Japanese, but please don't quote me. Yeah. I believe it's Japanese.
Aaliyah says.
No.
Aaliyah says it's Japanese. That was the quote marks Japanese. For you who are watching at home on your podcast players the next day.
We're not quoting.
You're watching at home on your podcast player. I am losing my mind.
No, but I was very, very in tune with Alice in Borderland, and I enjoyed watching it. It was very similar concept.
Interesting.
But they're not making. I don't know if they're making a second season, and I want them to. Do they collect all of the cards? I don't know. Do they get out of this Wonderland?
Yeah, I don't know anything about it.
It's not a Wonderland.
It's in my queue.
And
I definitely, it's one of the ones that, like we were jumping around watching trailers one day, just trying to figure out what we're going to watch at Swenson's next. And, even my wife was like, oh, that looks kind of interesting. Right. Oh my gosh. I don't think I could have eaten Swenson's and watched Squid Game. Yeah, that wouldn't have been, but just for those of you who aren't sure, and we're not going to spend the whole day talking about Squid Game, but just as a kind of like, what is Squid Game? What are you talking about? It's a Korean television show. Imagine Hunger Games, but like way better. And that's not a knock on Hunger Games. I enjoyed the book and the movie.
Right.
I'm not going to knock it because obviously we want J-Law to come on the show at some point. But but this was, it's just so much better. And I think probably a lot of it is because Hunger Games takes place in this like dystopian future kind of that is really distant. And this could be happening right now, and it's so real, which is
Yes.
what makes it so scary. But it's also what makes it so compelling, because you're like, oh my gosh, like all of us have probably been in debt at some point and felt that crunch, and it's like,
the characters are very, very relatable.
yeah, you can totally. And that's. I'm sorry. I'm going to say one more thing, and then
go.
I want to hear you, Utah. Come at me, come at me, bro. Because you're not going to take this away from me. I love this show. No, I know you love it too. I think one of the things that is so awesome about it is that even the characters that are supposed to be despicable, that you start out being like, oh gosh, I hope he's the first one to go, kind of, because we're inside, we say these kind of things in movies because it's not real, but then we feel like garbage after doing it, and that's part of the appeal of these kind of things, is that they just really make you think, oh my gosh, why am I rooting for this? You're rooting for even the bad guys to, like, you don't want, not the bad guys, the characters who are caught in this web of manipulation, and you're just even them. You're like, you're nervous for them. Your anxiety. You're on the edge of your seat for every character, regardless of how despicable they might be. It's just fascinating. Utah, go ahead. What do you think?
Yeah, no. To piggyback on what you said, all the characters are so relatable, and I think the thing that made Squid Game so much better for me and more powerful for me was the fact that it really, like Hunger Games, is pretty much one person's story, really, But with Squid Game, I didn't feel like there was one lead character that was so far above everybody else's. Like, the ensemble cast was so great.
Yeah.
And the characters were all well written. There weren't any really two-dimensional characters that gave you that had a lot of screen time. There were layers to everybody, and there was a lore and a story for each person, and gosh darn it, when you get invested in those characters, that's when they pull the rug out from under you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Episode 6. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh geez, and it's funny too, because usually I see that coming. I see the telegraph of, we're going to make you care about these two because we're going to show off the budding relationship between them or wherever else. But I was so drawn in by all the characters and the situation that they were in, and then the other subplots with who some of these people are that you don't see, the masked ones. And I totally forgot that, oh yes, this is a trope that all dramas do. They try and get you to care about the character right before anything bad happens to them. I totally forgot about that. And,
well, now I'm prepared. Thank you.
Yeah.
And it was, it's just so well done.
I mean, it's one of those shows where nobody's safe, right? I mean, you just... You
right, and like you said,
for anything to happen, it's
the anxiety.
Brilliant.
You are on the edge of your seat. Like at the end of each episode, you're like, oh my gosh, like you said, nobody's safe.
It reminds me of second season Walking Dead kind of feelings. Like, I really love those characters. I mean, I started to just really not care as much about them anymore. Like, after it kept going on and on.
There was fatigue.
And then by the time, it was fatigue, perfect word for how I felt about it. And then when we got to the first season, when they introduced Negan, I was so mad about that stupid twist they tried to throw at the end and the cliffhanger. I mean, it's just like, your guys are better than this. These stunts, like, don't stunt show me. You're like a compelling show, and this now you're pulling stupid, like, sweep stunts. Give me a break. So I was kind of done. I went back, and it got a little better after that. But second season, right? Like, you get to Herschel and the family and all this stuff, and Carol's looking for her daughter, and you're just like, and then the gut punch that happens, with that and some of the things that, like, that was, this show really just did that to me all over again, but in one season. It was kind of like, how did I just fall so in with these characters so quickly? I don't know. They did a brilliant job.
What amazes me is that, so the writer-director, same guy, he wrote this as a movie, and this was back in 2008. So this has been sitting around
for a while,
for a long time, and to finally, get the chance to make it into a TV series, and I'm glad it was a TV series.
Oh gosh,
there's no way
I can't imagine how it would have been cut up. Like,
there's no way a movie even if it was like 3.5 hours long, would be nearly as effective as you know, an episodic series like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy to me that this one guy had this idea and has been working on this for so long, and to finally have it kind of blow up like it has, and deservedly so. It's one of the best TV shows I've seen in a long time. So
Yeah. So
I just want season 2 now.
right. I'm hoping that we'll see more. Like, I mean,
I hope it
could be
happens.
over. Like, I mean, they could just be like, that was the story. We're done. But there's ways that like some of this could come back.
There's so many loose ends that I would love to see them explore.
Yeah. So let's talk about a show Aaliyah has seen.
So the
sorry,
Brady
Aaliyah.
Bunch. No.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
But yeah, so one show that really just kind of like blew the lid off of everything, and it's really gotten people talking online right now, in both positive and negative. And as you two know, like I have resolved not to get involved in social media, like arguments and garbage.
You don't want to argue online. No.
Whether it be politics, I mean, that's right out. Forget that. Not getting involved in that. But now I've
Jumping
started.
right in.
Now I've started to be like, okay, even like these pop culture things, and I think people are saying stupid things, and I'm like, why are you? You know, you're missing the point of this show. That, like, I want to jump in, and then I'm just like, but where's that gonna go? Where's that going? It doesn't go anywhere. So I come
Nowhere.
here and I rant about it.
And you rant.
And I hope that person will see and know that I was talking about that. No, I'm kidding.
That
That's
he's
what you should do.
calling them out.
Done. That's what you should do. Is you should rant here and then just post a link to the episode.
Yeah.
In those little, they're like, here, listen.
Right. Well, one of the shows that's doing that right now, and Screen Rant posted an article, and it was actually the Screen Rant that made me angry. Their article, not angry. That's not true. I wasn't angry, but I was just like, are you
That was a whole meme.
like, are you paying attention? Oh, my face, or
Yeah.
okay,
Or
I'll
GIF.
have to play it back.
Whichever one.
Yeah.
Justin Timberlake would be proud.
Yes.
Insider.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get it.
So, the show I'm talking about is What If, right? What If has been really kind of just taking over Disney Plus, really picking up and kind of doing some things. It's been very divisive amongst fans, though. There are fans that are just like, oh, there's too many loose ends. I'm like, it's a What If show. Of course there are loose ends. It's just saying,
That's the whole point.
what if? Like,
That
it's
is
not
literally-
supposed. Its whole point is to pull at threads, right, and just see what happens. And yeah, it may not fit the canon. It may not fit this or may not fit that. Who cares? That's
That's
not
the
the point.
point.
Yeah. So
Like the zombie episode.
yeah.
Like,
So
come
people
on.
are
I
just
love
flipping
Marvel
out.
zombies, man.
Yeah. So let's talk about What If. That's what I'd like to do today. If our guest, unfortunately, if he doesn't show up, this is going to be our show. So let's do a What If kind of recap up to this point, because I think we have one episode left, right? Or are there more
Yep.
than one? It's just one, I believe.
And then what comes next? Do you guys know? You remember?
From Marvel,
the
nothing.
The next
right?
thing that comes would be the Eternals.
Right, it's movies. Like, I think we're done with Marvel TV for the year after this.
I thought they
Yeah.
were doing one for Hawkeye. Or is that a movie?
Oh yeah, but that doesn't
Oh,
come out
yes,
till
that's
Christmas.
right.
You're right.
Oh,
It
okay.
doesn't come out till December.
Or is
Before
it
then
November
is Eternals
or
and
December?
Spider-Man.
Is it November
Yeah.
or December? I don't know. It's Christmas based. It's very,
Holidays.
very diehard. So now everybody's going to argue about whether or not Hawkeye is a Christmas show or not. And I'm sorry, it is. So haven't even seen it yet. I'm telling you it is. And you know, at Christmas we're going to have a Die Hard as a Christmas movie episode. So if you want to debate whether Die Hard is a Christmas movie, tune in.
How is it
December.
not a Christmas movie?
There
I
are
don't understand.
There are people who love to debate this with me. I'm not going to do it.
I've never seen it.
I'm not going to do this. I like went into shock momentarily, for those of you wondering why. I
Thank
got
you.
so
Good night.
Silent, yeah.
Tune in next week.
I know. I'm not surprised anymore when she says stuff like that. And that's fine, because it's like, duh, of course you haven't. Like, it was before you were born. Like, you wouldn't just like, I'm just going to watch this movie that came out
come
before
on.
I was born.
It's been on TV so many times.
My kids have only seen it because I love it. You know what I mean? Like, that's what happens. So if you don't have a parent or someone in your family
Or
who
a
just
guardian.
loves it, they're not going to probably introduce you to it. It's fine. It's totally, I get that.
My kids are like, oh yeah, you mean that battery commercial?
If there's one thing that this show and that World Gone Geek is definitely not going to do, it's not going to shame someone for not being in the same fandom or not having the same appreciation for something or not, you know what I mean? Like I'm so sick of that in this geek community where
Preach.
They're like, oh, you haven't seen this, or you haven't seen that, or you haven't been a part of that, or
You're
oh
not
my
a
gosh,
fan.
you like all the Star Wars movies? No, I don't. But if you do, that's awesome. Like you love those things. And let's celebrate that for you. I am not a fan of some of them, so that's okay. And so yeah. Now, so my reaction is more like shock. Not like shaming. I hope you know that, Aaliyah. You know me better than that.
Right.
It's more like, oh my gosh, you haven't seen this, and I can't wait to introduce it to you.
He wants to share.
Yes,
that's all.
No, I am totally understandable, and I totally get that people have not seen some of these things that we're talking about, and that's fine. Yeah.
But the thing is that two statements. One, I'm going to watch Squid Game. But by the time I watch Squid Game, you guys are going to be on to something else. And I'm going to have to...
That we have short attention spans?
No.
It's true. It's true. As evidence,
it's not a lie.
As evidence of short attention spans, I just want to point out before you continue, Aaliyah, that this conversation started out about What If, and now we're talking about Die Hard. So go ahead. Go ahead.
We'll circle back.
I know. We always do.
So yes, by that time, you guys are going to move on, and I'm going to have to catch up, per usual, because you guys are avid movie and TV watchers. Like, I mean, yeah, I rewatched the same thing because I know what's going to happen, and that's my first statement. So by the time I get there, you guys will be on to something else. My second statement is that it's not that I am not like, I don't have an appreciation for these things. I just wasn't raised on them. I wasn't raised, I was definitely raised on like an Andy Griffith or probably anything that came on CMT. But it's a different, how do I phrase it? It's a different, it'll be a different appreciation than for you guys. I feel like.
Oh yeah. No, and that's the thing. We don't want anybody to like. This isn't about like everybody should watch the things that we watch. Like again, the point of World Gone Geek is to celebrate what people geek out about. Like, unfortunately, our guest today isn't here, so we can't talk about what he geeks out about and about music and about because that would be the topic. So what are we talking about? The stuff we geek out about again.
What If?
Circling back to What If.
What If?
It's been great. So what I'd like to do is kind of recap this a little bit for those of you who may have not watched any of them yet. Please, you're just going to want to save this episode for another time. I don't think we necessarily need to spoil how each of them ends, except maybe this last one, because this last one I think is important for what we're trying to talk about tonight. But the other ones, I think we can just kind of, hey, this was really cool how they did this and whatever. We don't necessarily need to tell exactly what happened. But let's start at the beginning really quick and just go through
It's a very good place to start.
That it is. Usually it's a lot better to start
there,
right?
Start at the very beginning.
Unless you are watching the movie Memento.
It's Sound of Music.
Thank you, Aaliyah. Yeah, Jeff knew. He just ignored it. That's why I said it. See, he ignored it because I said it first. Had you started singing it, then he would have acknowledged it.
But you didn't sing it.
I didn't have to. You don't have to sing it. People know.
No, they don't.
You knew. Jeff knew.
I'm sorry. It was like,
How
I was
do you solve
compelled.
a problem like Aaliyah?
Oh my gosh.
She hasn't seen the movies we have seen.
So we have a special screening, and no, I'm kidding. Totally, we need to have obviously we need to have a musical episode now, where we break into
Aaliyah,
song.
where are you? Aaliyah, where are you? Aaliyah,
you okay?
where'd you go?
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I think she just watched episode 6 of Squid Game. She cried.
No,
Oh gosh. Okay.
that just
keep
worked.
going. I'm
That
sorry.
worked too perfectly with that song. I think.
There, Aaliyah, you happy? I sang. You happy now?
Yeah.
I think we should do a musical episode at some point, because whether it's about musicals and then we sing occasionally, or you know what I mean, like we suddenly break into song.
Yes.
And
But
then,
I
you know.
loved Sound of Music. It was such a good movie. And so when he said it, it just was like,
Yeah.
I had to say it. I had to sing it.
Yeah.
I couldn't hold it in.
It's a good
That's why I said it.
So you were
Now, is Sound of
anticipating.
Music a Christmas movie?
Is it? No.
Is it?
No, that's a movie where Christmas takes place in it. But really, anything that you like to watch around the holidays is a Christmas movie, as far as I'm concerned. But this
So
is
Sound of Music would be a
this
Christmas
is a
movie.
completely different.
Kind of like how Wizard of Oz
Debate,
seems to be traditionally played like during Easter, around Easter, right?
Well, I think that's just because that's when the TV stations would put it on, and it just became like,
Right.
oh, this is always
It just became a tradition.
yeah. So what were we talking about?
What if?
I feel
Sorry,
so bad
guys.
for our podcast listeners right now. This is just
No,
this
if
is a
anything-
disaster. This episode, and it's this is what happens when we're prepared all week for a guest that unfortunately couldn't make it, and we just kind of ramble for a while.
No, I
So-
feel like if anything, this is better because a lot of people relate to this. This is how
I know.
people's minds work.
I know. It's agreed. Yeah, right. Especially mine. This is free association of just ideas. So what?
Okay.
So what if is a show on Disney Plus that asks the question, "What if?" and it does all these very interesting things with. Different elements of the MCU or the comics, but it seems like they've really just kind of stayed in the MCU, because I think
It's very much MCU centric.
they think that everybody who is watching is probably either already a fan, has been forever, or was brought in and became fans because of the MCU. So MCU is kind of like the gateway now into Marvel, and so
Yeah,
many
I think that-
folks haven't even
I think
read the
that's fair.
comics. So why would they delve into those? We can always read the What If comics if we want to do that.
Those are some good ones too. This is
They
really
are
good. Anyway,
My favorite one: What if the Punisher's family hadn't been killed?
right? What if they? Right.
It's really
What would he become?
It's
Well,
really
let's not
interesting.
spoil it.
Yeah, that's a good one. But that's because I love the Punisher, and back in the day, that was a good one. All right,
Same.
so the first episode we get to meet Captain Carter. So what if Peggy Carter got the super serum instead of Steve Rogers? What did you guys
That
think?
was so good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so good. If there was a better way to start a TV series for me anyway, I don't know if there was one. That was just amazing. I had always been a fan of Peggy Carter ever since her appearance in Captain America: The
God,
First
I wish
Avenger.
they hadn't canceled that show.
And then Agent Carter was my favorite TV show to come out of
So
Marvel.
good.
I
It
enjoyed
was way better
it
than
more
Agents
I-
of Shield.
Oh, hands down, much better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I became a fan of Haley Atwell, the actress who plays Peggy Carter. Just that character was so great. And to see her kind of go beyond what she did in Agent Carter and become Captain Carter was fantastic. It was just so great to see that. And they did such a great job with that character and her relationship with Steve Rogers in that episode. I thought it was very easy to see that, yeah, absolutely, this is how it would happen if Peggy Carter ended up getting the super serum. And they're little throwbacks to the little things we've seen with Bucky. And I mean, it was all arguably my favorite episode of What If.
Yeah.
It was just really well done.
What were your thoughts, Aaliyah? Did you enjoy that one?
I did enjoy it, but I'm going to be honest. It felt like forever ago.
Yeah, it was a little bit.
But no, from what I remember, it was very good. I also during that train scene, still that heart-wrenching moment, even, that we saw in the movie. So I did like that. But I like that they brought him back, but they didn't bring him back as like Bucky, right? They didn't have him in playing that role. Instead, he more so just needed to be rescued.
Sure.
And I liked that. But I think that it would be interesting if the roles were reversed, right? Like if Bucky just got rescued, but he didn't turn into this. It turned into
the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, the Winter Soldier. But instead,
I thought for sure that they were going.
Steve.
Yeah, I thought for sure it was going to be Steve was going to be the Winter Soldier.
Oh, that Steve took Bucky's place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and how compelling would that be, right? Because obviously they had feelings for each other, Carter and Steve, Peggy and Steve. Oh, I'm calling her Carter. They obviously had feelings for one another, even though, he hadn't been. And that's what I loved about it, too, just real quick. Their relationship kind of blossomed, even though he wasn't buff Chris Evans.
Yeah. It was
of course she loves buff Chris Evans, you know what I mean? But no, like she loves Steve. Like it's, even scrawny Steve was like, it was him. It was who he is that she loved. And so I thought that was pretty cool. But how cool would it have been for that relationship to kind of blossom. And then 100 years later, like she's in the ice, she wakes up and Steve is the Winter Soldier. And so now it's not just this bromance that is rekindled, right? It's an actual romance. And it's like, what? He's now my enemy, this man that I loved. And so I think that would have been very compelling to find out how that
Tell me about that.
So I'd like to see another what if.
I'd give my left arm for Steve not to be the Winter Soldier.
And then you would, I get it. So you would be the Winter Soldier instead.
I'm more of an autumn soldier than a winter soldier.
I love the fall myself too. I would definitely be an autumn soldier.
I'd be a summer.
Or maybe spring, maybe a spring soldier. I don't know.
Okay, anyway.
Definitely not
second
winter.
episode.
Well, the only thing that I thought was kind of odd, or another question that left hanging was if Stark's dad, I'm losing the train of thought. Howard Stark has created this iron armor already. You know what I mean? Like, what does that mean now for Iron Man in the future?
For Tony?
Yeah. So that changes his entire future,
true.
and his entire world is different now. So yeah, it's that's what I love about these. Now there's all this debate. We can have this conversation and figure out, I wonder what would happen. But I think that's part of the problem is people are now saying, well, that's a loose end, or they're arguing about those things. And I'm like, well, no, that's what makes them so fascinating. What would happen? Now we can think about it. We can write fan fiction.
Right.
And
that's the whole point.
Right.
The whole point of what if is, what if there was one thing that's
thinking.
changed?
Yes.
It's
good stuff.
Right. Obviously, you change one thing, and it changes a whole bunch of other things, just like throwing a pebble into a pond, right?
Yeah.
It's not just, now we have Captain Carter and Scrawny Steve in an Iron Man suit. No, there's a whole bunch of other repercussions that happen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so, that's the whole point of the show, people.
Yeah.
So, yes, there are unknowns and loose ends because they want you to think about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want? Like 20 years of, you want 25 movies for each specific universe?
Right.
Come on now.
Now, episode 2.
I would watch it, but
yeah, so would I.
I would watch a Captain Carter. I would watch a Captain Carter.
I would
movie,
watch a Captain Carter show. Are you kidding me?
Same.
Are you kidding me?
Like I said, I wanted to watch
I'm
Agent Carter show, and they didn't let me do it.
Right?
So we're
Yeah.
not going to get the Captain Carter. Are you kidding me? They're just all about ripping our hearts out, not giving us what we
But
want.
I would be there. I would watch Captain Carter.
I'm obviously joking. I love what they're doing. So the second episode was very
what a bittersweet
awesome
episode.
to have. Yeah, it was bittersweet because one, it was like, this is awesome because we get to see T'Challa and all of this stuff. But it was bittersweet because you're reminded, oh my gosh, like this is going to be the last time we're hearing Chadwick Boseman. Now, as it turns out, it really isn't because he's been in like almost every episode. He's had a little cameo, and they've managed to work him into all of them. And but this one was really good. What if T'Challa became Star-Lord, which is just this is another really contentious episode for folks because they're like, what, you just had to talk to Thanos and he didn't do what he did? I'm like, there's way more than they just had a conversation. It was a relationship over time that
Right.
that
it
he
was
influenced
Yes.
Thanos, and that's I
was a
think
history
what's
there.
so fantastic again about having these conversations is because sometimes that's all it takes, right? Like the way we treat other people and the way we talk to them and the way we interact with the people around us can totally change their future, and how we're, whether we're going to be a jerk to them or we're going to, show them love and mercy or grace or whatever it was that T'Challa did in his life. Thanos ended up not being such a jerk, and he still had the idea, right? I still think it would have worked, right? I think he says something like that. I don't remember, but so it's not like he just was like,
he totally.
But it's like, you know what? Because of the influence of T'Challa and because of the influence of other folks, he did the right thing. Aaliyah, what do you think?
Well, it was very humorous how how Thanos kept discussing that topic with people, and they're like, well, that sounds like genocide.
Yeah.
He's like, no.
No. Listen.
It was really fun. Yeah, they had some fun with it.
The writers on this show are really good. They've done a good job of kind of finding that balance between the levity of some ridiculous situations about what if, but then also, I mean, it's just, that sounds like genocide is perfect. It was.
But even that scene when he was in, who was that? His name. It's not Copycat. The Treasurer. What's his name?
The Collector.
The Collector.
The Collector. Yes.
The Treasurer.
The Treasurer. The Secretary. The Digger.
We totally have to have a backstory for the Treasurer now. He was elected.
Are the Treasurer and Collector, are they brothers?
He was elected treasurer of his senior class in high school, but he was bullied and fell into a radioactive, vat of cafeteria chili.
And became the treasurer for everybody.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Is he a good guy or a bad guy? That's what.
Oh no, wait. Or is the treasurer called the treasurer because he treasures things?
Okay, I feel like he would be. I feel like he would.
What were you saying?
So you were talking about the Collector. Go ahead.
Yes, but I'm going to defend myself now.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Because he had a whirlwind of treasures.
He sure did.
He did.
And he treasured them all.
So,
You're right.
So he absolutely.
And it was a monetary value to all of them. Like, oh, what can I get out of it? So everybody knows, like Captain Hook, he wants to find his treasure.
So he's the banker? You're talking about the banker?
No.
Not the treasurer or the collector?
He's the Collector. So I think here's how I'm going to settle this. Here's what I think happened. So I think that because of his love for collecting things, his mother, as he was growing up, had this sweet pet name for him, which was the Treasurer. And he loved that, and he loves his mom. But when he grew up and he got older, he didn't want other people to call him that, because if they did, you know what I mean? It's like, no, don't let my mother's beautiful words come out of your sullied mouth. You will call me the Collector. And that's what I believe has happened. So go ahead, Aaliyah.
Okay, so this is What If. This is a new What If series here. Yep. Okay, I don't remember where I was going with any of that now. I think I was just talking about the scene, that entire scene, but...
the Collector was pretty much a badass, too. Who knew, right?
Mm-hmm. He was. Right? And then, although the ending, I know we're not spoiling any endings, but the ending, he got what he deserved. That treasure.
He got collected.
So... before we move on to the next episode, though, I do want to point out something that I found was fascinating. I think we've talked about in a previous episode, but apparently Chadwick Boseman was one of the first people to agree and sign up to be on this show. Like when he heard And that just makes it even more like, oh my gosh, right? Because he knew.
Because he knew.
Was going to be done with T'Challa, and he didn't want to be, right? He wanted to play T'Challa as many times as he could. And I really, truly believe that's why they've written in so many opportunities for him to be in this show, and that he keeps popping up in other episodes.
Yeah.
Whether they knew, I don't know how much information the writers or anybody else had, but again, he just had a passion for doing it, and it's just so awesome that he did, because I'm so glad we got to hear him again.
Yeah.
It also like kind of upset me how I can't remember people's names today, and I'm not going to try to guess on this one. The guy that took him in,
the digger.
What?
The digger. The pitcher. The pitcher. I'm just thinking of things that end in "er."
No.
Oh my gosh, what is happening?
The
humidifier?
Right.
No.
The guy that took in Star-Lord. What's his name? The real Star-Lord. I can't.
Oh, the Ravager guy.
Yeah. Why are we blanking on his name? We have
Yondu.
Yondu.
Thinking of Yondu?
We have been goofing around so much that we can't even remember the easiest things about the show that we're talking about.
I apologize.
Yeah, the Ravager.
Yes, thank you.
Yondu.
It's Yondu.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
He's Mary Poppins, y'all.
All right, go ahead.
It made me mad that he just lied to him his entire life.
Yeah.
It made me mad that he just lied to him. And he
Seems
didn't.
to be his MO, though, right? Because he kind of did that with Peter Quill, too, right?
Quill.
Yeah,
Quinn.
absolutely.
Quill.
You did what?
I can't speak. This is
I
why I
can't
have
remember.
a podcast, because I can't speak, so I just record me
So
not
the podcast
speaking.
is perfect for
Yeah. We can change the name. World Gun Geek. He can't speak.
Anyways, it made me upset. That's what
He's not grounded geek. He's the geek who can't speak.
Yeah. Episode 3, What If the World Lost Its Mightiest Heroes? This was fascinating.
Ooh, this was a good one.
Right?
I like this one.
Every
too.
Avenger
This was
gets
really
killed,
interesting.
and we're like, what?
The closest we're going to get to Ant-Man.
That's what I was going to say. I think this is the most compelling thing about this episode is that everyone was talking about how the Hulk got killed, and they a lot of them think that it confirms the theory that Ant-Man, if he just went into a Thanos orifice and then expanded, he could have totally ended it all. So it's interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think that could have happened after watching this?
Hey, look. Technically, the physics work.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and then what it comes down to.
According to my calculations.
What it comes down to, and again, this is what people are arguing about, right? They're saying,
Call me the calculator.
They're saying, well, if why didn't they do something like that to Thanos? If you could take out the Hulk, if you could do these things, I think
They wanted to keep a PG-13 rating.
PG-13, but at the same time, like in a later episode, was it? It wasn't the last one. It was one before. What if Ultron
Killmonger?
won? Right.
That's the most recent one.
That was
What
the
if
most
Ultron
recent
won?
one. And he just totally zaps Thanos in half, right? He just kind of
Right, yes.
bisects him with his laser. And everyone's like, duh, why didn't he just do that? And I'm like, do you even know who Vision is? Have you been watching these movies? Like, Vision's a
Right.
good
Vision wouldn't
guy.
do that.
He
Right.
wouldn't just do that, no matter, first of all, he knew that this guy was a threat, right? And he knew that the world was, in danger. But, maybe they could talk him out of it. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? He's not going to just come in and be like,
That wasn't- yeah.
you're done. You know what I mean? That's just
Yeah.
not who Vision was. Now, it's 100% who Ultron was, so that was very much in character. But these are the types of
Absolutely.
things I'm saying. So why didn't Ant-Man do that to Thanos? Because he's Ant-Man. He just wouldn't. Why would he do that? You know what I mean? He
Why
wouldn't.
would Scott Lang even think about something
No,
like that?
Well, he might because he's goofy like that. He'd be like,
Oh, 'cause
"What
he's
if
kinda
I?
funny that
No,
way,
no,
right.
I can't. No, I can't do that." You know what I mean? Because deep down, he's a good guy. They're good guys, people. They don't just massacre the bad guy in disgusting ways just because their powers allow them to do so. And
Right.
and that's the frustration I'm having with all of this. We saw it in this episode for sure. But yeah, Could he have done it? I guess he could have. And the only reason that the person who does not get away with it, but accomplishes it in the show is because he's gone crazy. He's a bad person now, right?
And
bad person,
and
crazy people,
do crazy things,
bisect
right.
people with their laser eyes, right?
Right.
Or
Yeah,
not his
exactly.
eyes,
No, I like the fact that they visited.
stone.
Yeah, they visited. Because in the comics, Hank Pym was kind of bipolar at one point.
Yeah.
He needed help.
Yeah.
At some point in the comic book. So I like the fact that they kind of delve into the dark side of Hank Pym in this one. But I'll tell you, I honestly, for a long time, I'm like, what's happening? How are these people dying? I was totally
It was well done. It was a cool
really
little
nicely
whodunit
done.
kind of thing.
I liked. Yeah, it was really good. Really good.
So, episode 4, what if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands?
This was a neat one too.
This one.
This was really neat.
The interest. Oh, sorry.
No,
ahead.
go, Aaliyah.
No,
What?
go ahead. No, go, Aaliyah. Go. Go.
Is
Go.
how it came. Is how he came back in this most recent episode because
Yeah, kind of nice how they're kind of
Yeah.
tying it in. That was like my question.
Yeah, we'll get to that at the last episode
We'll
for
get to
sure.
that.
I want to talk about it.
I did like the fact that, and they've done this with all the episodes in What If, is they do a really good job of kind of replicating very well certain scenes from the movies that that we know when it's appropriate.
Sure.
And they do a great job of planting that and making sure that we're aware that, look, this is where about when in the movie or whatever this change of decision or change of aspect happens. And it was interesting to see that his girlfriend did go to dinner with him on this one versus the movie where she's like, no, you're a jerk.
Yeah.
So
This was a heartbreaking one to watch over and over again.
Over and over.
But it was a really fascinating study. But yeah, it's not one of my favorite episodes only because of how dark it left everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, like you
Yeah.
said, Leah, and we'll talk about when we get here to the most recent episode. We it looks like we're coming back to kind of explore what happened after that ending. But yeah, it was interesting. But it was one of those, like, I don't know. It was like Groundhog Day. What if Groundhog Day were
what if it were dark?
depressing?
Right.
And there is
Yeah.
It
parts
was a
of Groundhog
dark
Day that explore the depression part of it, right? And apparently
It's
there's
very
stuff on the
slightly,
cutting room floor that even more explored that,
Really?
according to
Okay.
Harold Ramis, that it was going to be a lot darker at some parts. But it does explore some dark themes, even though it's overall just more of a heartwarming comedy. This, however, was like, Groundhog Day.
Straight on
if
dark.
you just wanted to be sad for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it was
that
gut-wrenching to
was a
watch.
rough one. But then they followed it up with zombies. Now I have a lot of mixed feelings about this episode. So I'm going to let you guys talk first. But what did you guys think of the zombie? Now, for those who don't know, what if zombies, people are like, where did the zombies come from? Why is that a thing? Well, it turns out that,
Janet.
originally, I know. I'm talking about, like, there's a comic series that actually
Yes.
is the Marvel Universe and everybody's
Kind of
zombies.
the basis of
Yeah, and so it's really been like these popular little. They're short runs. They're not. It's not like a whole comic series, but they're very popular in graphic novel form. I have them, and they're just fun, weird, zombie Marvel stories. So that's why they did this. They know that people love those stories, and they're like, oh, well, let's make a what if with zombies.
They did a good job with it too. I mean, I don't remember how the zombies came about in the comic books, but the fact that they planted it with Janet Van Dyne was clever, because I thought that was clever. That hey, here she is in the quantum realm for however long, and remember this was the whole thing for Ant-Man 2, right? Mm-hmm. And they go into quantum realm, and Hank doesn't realize it's too late that Janet is a zombie in the quantum realm, and then Hank becomes patient zero to bring it
back to regular
back
realm.
to the real world, so to speak, right? Right, the non-quantum,
non-quantum.
because non-quantum,
unquanta.
unquantum. Anyways, but they did a good job of kind of an origin story for that. And I mean, I don't know. I'm a fan of the zombie comic book limited series that when Marvel does it, and so it was nice to see they did a good job of replicating again some great frames from the comic books. And I can't speak enough about Scott Lang's head and the Cape of Levitation. That whole thing that was fantastic. Like
that was
I almost want that to happen in real life in a movie somehow, because it was just so great how it all happened. So.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on the zombies, Aaliyah?
I don't know. I kind of thought it was a little corny, but also at the same time, I thought that it was maybe just one of those funner episodes. You know, like we just had, you know, that Doctor Strange What If Doctor Strange episode, and maybe they just wanted to make it like, you know, a little more fun, even though it's not. It's still sad, you know, to think about or to ponder. But a funner episode, not as heavy as that Doctor Strange one, because that one was really, it's grief, right? And there's a lot. Every
time
that could actually resonate.
Every time somebody sacrificed themselves in the zombie episode, you know, I kind of felt that. I'm like, but that's how all the zombie movies or whatever, right? You always have people that are like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to sacrifice myself for the greater good. You go on, and you know they did a good job of making it very Marvel in terms of how these people, you know, sacrifice themselves. I love the Wasp's sacrifice.
I'm gonna slightly disagree with you.
Oh, okay.
So I agree with you on that. But here's the problem that I had with the episode. I enjoyed it overall. I mean, I was entertained by it, and that's the whole point, right? The one thing that bothered me, though, is, one, there's some really, like, gruesome things that happen in it. And I feel like the writers knew, hey, we're going to have to put some gruesome things in. This is zombies. And then, so they kind of, in order to try to accommodate for that, they put in a lot of humor that felt really wrong and out of place in that environment. And for instance, like at one point, like Sharon is zombified and she gets blown up, and I think Black Widow or somebody says, "I got Sharon on me" or something, like, you know, like,
right.
And I'm like, these are people they love and know. Like, why are they not like horrified that these things are happening to their friends? So that's fair. And I get that, you know, again, this isn't The Walking Dead. They're not examining like what would happen to the people's you know, psyches if this all happened. But it almost felt just so cavalier and out of character for them to just be like, oh, let's make all these little one-liners and jokes while people that we love are just dead. And so the point you made, look at all these amazing sacrifices people made. Yes, those were great, but the people in the episode didn't care. You know what I mean? Like it didn't impact them. Like they're just like, oh, I guess he's dead now. But that was my only, you know, kind of like negative point. Like I said, I was still entertained by it. I did think the funny parts were funny, but it was just such a weird combination.
Yeah, there was a little imbalance there.
It felt really awkward. Still enjoyed it. My favorite part, though, easily, is when Happy gets turned. And he's still going, blam, blam.
Blam, blam, blam.
Because they told him you don't have to make the sound for the gun.
You're making the sound?
But he kept doing it anyway. And then even after he was dead, he's still going, blam, blam. That was, so like some of the humor did make, I mean, I did laugh. I'm not saying it wasn't funny. It just felt
the whole, like,
really,
zombie
it was just
tape.
the juxtaposition of the two extremes was just like, it didn't work for me. And I felt like Scott Lang was the worst offender, right? Like some of the things he said were at the most inappropriate times. But again, that's Scott Lang. Like, I think maybe that's what he would have said. I don't know. But yeah, that was my only complaint about that episode. I still enjoyed it. But then
I just trying to figure out.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've been trying to figure out ever since watching it is, okay, Bruce Banner gets saved, right? Spidey, Peter Parker, has his great little video of, you know, the rules for Zombieland, so to speak. And one of them is like, wear long sleeves. why does Bruce Banner not put on a long sleeve shirt or a hoodie like right after seeing that? Like the rest of the episode, he's still in that little sleeveless thing from the the Sanctorum. And I'm like, what the heck, dude?
Yeah, there's lots of nitpicks, but ultimately it was fun. So next we finally get to see Killmonger again, which was interesting, and T'Challa on the other side
again.
But but in this one, he's speaking to us from the other side. I was like, no! Why are you doing this to us?
Right?
That was so heart-wrenching.
It felt more emotional because it was so close to the situation. Right?
Yeah.
You're exactly right. Here he is speaking from the other side and he is on the other side. Yeah.
That was but it was an interesting episode. That's another one that's caused some contention because people are like, does the timing work? Would Killmonger have been in Afghanistan at that time? Would it have that? Who cares? So matter. What if? Obviously, everything else in Killmonger's life changed too, right? Like there's different things that happen. He did different things at different times. And it's not so people make the mistake of thinking that when something happens in What If, everything that happened up till that point was the same as what it was in the MCU. And now this is the one thing that branches off. No, the branch could have happened at any time in the past that brought Killmonger to this point. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I felt like Tony gave Killmonger the keys to the kingdom way too fast, though. Like, it was a little bit like, oh, you're on mute.
It was a little quick.
You're on mute. There you go.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
2-year-old.
That's all right. Go ahead.
But then I was talking and nobody was. It's like, oh, I'm on mute. Okay. No, I definitely agree with you there. He didn't even really know him, but he was like, "Oh, you saved me, so now you're about to be my best man."
That's all it takes. I could be second in command over Happy at Stark Industries just if I.
Hey, Happy was rightfully upset.
Oh yeah.
That's all
I feel like obviously Happy saved his life.
Yeah, many times.
Right, many times.
Yep.
I mean,
it was an interesting episode, though. It was kind of cool to see that character again, because I did enjoy him a lot in Black Panther, and it was neat to see him back in action. But again, bringing Chadwick back in that episode again was so perfect. But yeah, it is also bittersweet because it was just like, why you do this to me, Marvel?
Just another reminder.
Yeah.
But even
go ahead.
I'd say even that conversation though was just like, are you happy? Like, it's really what you wanted.
It's good stuff. So we're coming up close to the end of the show, so we need to get to the last episode here. But
Party Thor.
I'm okay with just kind of really just zooming past this one. It was my least favorite episode of the entire series. What if Thor were an only child? This is one of the few that I actually almost kind of agree with people who have little nitpicks about how the timelines work because, just because Loki, like there's stuff that doesn't make sense because Loki, I don't know. I mean, who knows what else might have changed, because of him being a frost giant instead of his brother. But that was my least favorite episode, mostly because like I just couldn't stand Thor and his friends. Like they were just, and even characters that I really loved were like acting like buffoons in this one. Do you know what I mean?
Like not Howard just the Duck was fine.
Like not just he was great. That was fun seeing Howard the Duck again, right? But
Howard the Duck.
But the whole,
like the Warriors 3. There's no way they would act like that, right? Yeah. I can't imagine Lady Sif being that way.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems I don't know. I didn't like it that much. I was just kind of like, this is my meh episode. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Same.
It seems
annoying.
Definitely seemed really superfluous. Like we have got a 9-episode contract and we are 1 episode short. So, hey, frat boy Thor, sure.
Right, and I feel like it was a disservice to Jane Foster's character. Because she still fell for Thor, even though he was no. Like first of all, it makes her out to be like, oh, you know,
All of a sudden,
I'm
she's-
super
yeah.
smart. I'm a genius. I'm an independent woman. I'm all these things.
But
but you
but I'll always
bohunk
fall for
and
that.
blonde hair who, you know, shows up and suddenly I'm, you know, no.
Smitten.
Like, how do you,
that's not.
you know, it wasn't even that easy in the actual one where he wasn't that dumb. He was still kind of a bohunk when he met her because he was being,
True.
you know, because Thor starts out as kind of a bohunk, right? He's not that nice or good of a person. That's the whole point. He's
That's
supposed
the whole
to grow and
point
learn.
of the movie.
But yeah, so I just don't feel like Jane would have fallen for him. I felt like that was way out of character for her. But
I agree.
anyway, it was cool that, you know, Natalie Portman and Darcy and what's her face, blanking on her name, plays Darcy, that they both came back and did the voices. And you know, almost everybody has been their own voices, but there's been a few. Like Brie Larson was not Captain Marvel, I think.
Right.
There's
somebody else did. Paul Rudd didn't couldn't reprise this. I think it was all like scheduling issues too.
Probably,
basically.
yeah. I think a lot of them would have done it if they could.
Chris Evans was not Steve Rogers.
Yeah. But that brings us. So we'll just Thor. Skip it. That makes it sound like I don't like it because it's Thor. That's not it. I like Thor, but that episode was not that great. So that leads us to the final episode, and I felt like this one kind of really turned the whole series on its head in such a good way. So this one is What If Ultron Won? And I'm thinking that, okay, as it starts, I'm like, okay, so Ultron wins in the Age of Ultron movie. You know, we see how he gets created, and he wins, and we get to see that. But man, they took this in a brand new, interesting direction.
Yeah,
and I see
I like what they
Aaliyah
did with it.
is like some sort of information or a question or idea has dawned upon her. So I'm going to let her talk.
Yeah. There was definitely a question because I feel like they had introduced Ultron in a different episode. Is that correct?
So
At the end of an episode,
he
right?
showed up at the end of the Thor, dumb Thor one.
Yes. Okay.
Because he was dumb and didn't do the things he was supposed to do. That may have helped lead to why Ultron won, I guess, because the Avengers didn't happen, or at least not in the way, you know, they should have.
Right. Thor was not part of the Avengers.
Yeah.
Right. So
And rightly so at that time. Yeah. But
Yeah.
so
okay. So this is the. Sorry.
Yeah, no, Ultron gets Vision's body just like he wanted originally, and he becomes Ultron Vision. I don't know if that's his name, but
Ultron.
Voltron. And he launches. Basically, he starts a nuclear holocaust, kills most of humanity. He basically accomplishes twice what Thanos tried to do in half the time.
Right. Right.
Even when Thanos shows up to complete the Infinity Gauntlet, as we said earlier, Ultron's just like, "Oh, who are you?" Zip. No, he doesn't even ask questions. He just like slices him in half, and Thanos is done.
And that was it.
Yeah. So yeah.
And because of that, he gets the Infinity Stones.
Yeah. And then all heck breaks loose, right?
And then
Yeah.
So the where they went kind of interesting in this, and I got a little confused in this episode because we see Black Widow and Clint Barton, like trying to find the answer, like how are we going to defeat Ultron? And I'm like, I can't figure out if it's like, is this happening before he's wiped out most of humanity, or is it still happening, you know, and they just happen to survive it? And if so, how did Black Widow and Hawkeye survive the apocalypse,
Of all the
but the
people.
rest of the Avengers didn't? Like, that's what I don't understand. But
Two words: Hank Pym.
there you
Just
go.
kidding.
Yeah. Right. But I don't know what was going on. Like, I couldn't tell if that was,
I got to go back.
if that was
and take a look
present
again.
or past or whatever. But either way, they're
Yeah.
trying to figure it out. They're trying to find Arnim Zola's consciousness.
Armin Zola.
And all that kind of stuff. So that's
How
kind of
about
interesting.
how about Hawkeye with his arm? What happened there?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. At some point, he becomes the Winter Soldier. I think, you know.
At some point, he lost his arm, and he's
Yeah.
got this cool bionic arm.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. But where they kind of went amazing with this show is by making Ultron hear the Watcher. So when the Watcher
That was
speaks,
cool.
Ultron's
Yeah.
like, So Ultron's basically demolished. He's destroyed everyone and everything, everywhere, on every planet, in every cosmos, in every galaxy of this universe. Basically, he's just gone on a rampage, right? And now he's like, who's the famous quote with "No more worlds left to conquer"? You know what I mean?
Right.
Who is that? What's that quote? I'm gonna find it, put it in the show notes. But anyway, that guy, he's basically like, what do I do now? Like, what do I do? Like, I'm lost. Like, my purpose was to save the universe, and the only way to save the universe is to get rid of humanity, and I guess every other alien species was as bad as us. I don't know. And so he wipes everybody out, and now he's got nothing to do. The Watcher's narrating what has happened, and Ultron turns around because he's heard the Watcher.
Who said that?
Yes. And
that
so
part.
I love that.
all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute. And now we see him battling the Watcher through all the multiverses, including the Star Wars universe. Did you notice that there was a couple of planets that looked very similar to Mustafar and Felucia?
Yes, I did see that.
I mean,
the
I was
Mustafar
just
one I saw.
There's articles out there on the internet that's like, it's canon. Star Wars is in the Marvel. I'm like, first of all, they talk about Star Wars as a movie in the movies and on the show. Like, in fact, in this episode, Clint says the Death Star plans. I think
The Death
doesn't he?
Star, yes,
Right?
yes,
Or something
he
like
says
that.
right, yes.
So, yeah, there's definitely like Easter eggs in there, but it's not in the same universe.
It's not the same universe.
They just wanted to have some fun. The artists were like, "Ooh, look at this! People will flip out and write articles and argue on the internet."
How fun must that be, though? Right?
Right? Yeah, they can like control and manipulate an entire group of people into arguing with each other. It's just like if they were politicians. So,
and just so you know, just he wept, for there were no more worlds to conquer.
that's what it was. That's what it was.
There you go.
Who
said by
that?
Alexander the Great. But
yes, I knew it was something.
Do you know
like that.
Do you know who quoted Alexander the Great in what movie?
Yes, but I can't remember.
Hans Gruber.
That's what it was. When he
Hans Gruber.
there were no more worlds, and he says it's so awesome. He probably said it
yeah.
better. He's probably said it better than Alexander the Great, I would imagine.
Absolutely.
Like if we had a
Hans
recording
Gruber said
there,
it better.
and Alexander the Great said it, and then Alan Rickman showed up and said, "No, let me show you how this is done." And Alexander the Great would have been, "Oh my gosh, I am clearly not great. You are Alan Rickman the Great." And then the whole, who knows how history would have unfolded. What if Alan Rickman showed up Alexander the Great by saying his famous quote in a much more compelling way? No. Back to the story we're talking about. They battle through all of the multiverses and just all these crazy things happen. And I would like to hear your theories, if either of you have them, on what do you think is about to happen in this last episode. I have a theory, and I'm going to share it, and we're going to see how wrong I am when it comes out on Wednesday. But I'd love to hear what you guys think. Leah, do you have any theories, or do you think it's? Are you just waiting to see what happens? And do you want me to not even say my theory because you don't want me to spoil things if it turns out to be true?
Oh, we know that's not going to happen.
Hey,
Wow.
I'm right sometimes when I'm.
No, I'm
Shots
just joking.
fired.
I'm joking. I keyed. No, I just.
I love that. Did you just reference Triumph, the insult comic? Dog?
I keyed.
Yes.
Nice. I approve.
I don't know. I don't know.
So-
I just know it was a phrase
Okay.
that people said. I
Gotcha.
keyed.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I still approve.
Okay, great. As long as you approve. I don't really have a theory. I guess I was really excited that they actually continued the Party Thor ending with Ultron coming back, because this is the only one that they actually did continue. You know, they actually
Right.
did a
That's
run
the
on
only
with.
one,
As far as we know.
As far as we know, you're very right, very accurate. How did it end? I can't remember.
So
How did that last?
He ends up
Then
in
with
that
Doctor
little
Strange.
Doctor Strange bubble that
Oh,
Doctor Strange is
yeah.
trapped in after their battle. But
And Doctor Strange comes to him and says, "I told you so." No, I'm just kidding. He didn't say that.
Yeah, because Doctor Strange heard the Watcher too, which is kind of interesting. Like,
It is very interesting. But my question is, what was the last thing that Doctor Strange said to him?
that I don't remember off the top of my head.
Wasn't it something like, "Are you willing to interfere now?"
Oh yeah,
right?
that's what
something
it was.
like that.
Oh yeah, because it was like,
Are you done watching?
willing to?
Basically,
Right? Are you done
Yeah,
watching, or
He didn't
is it
say
is
that,
it
but
time?
that's kinda
is
like,
it now
yeah.
time to interfere? I mean, that's the gist of what he said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he, the whole thing is like, I don't want to have to do what I know I'm going to have to do.
Yeah.
And so obviously he's probably going to have to interfere, right?
Yeah.
So obviously
Yeah,
he's probably going to, that was not an accurate statement. He's going to have to interfere. He's going to have to.
Utah, what do you think?
Totally agree. I totally think that the Watcher has realized that, his oath, he's got to break his oath, and he's going to, I think, what I think is going to happen is he's going to interfere, and part of the interference is going to be he's going to he's going to go get some of the other people from the other episodes that
Yep.
we've seen.
That's exactly what my theory is,
He's going to create the What If Avengers, so to speak, right? He's going to get Captain Carter.
The
He's going to get
multiverse
Killmonger.
Avengers.
Right, exactly. And he's going to bring them together, and they will defeat or attempt to defeat Voltron.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think that 100%. And so the reason is because, and the reason I was so cryptic earlier, and I'm like, at least as far as we know, that's the only episode that didn't continue. What this show has done brilliantly is market itself as an anthology series, and then literally just blow our minds by saying it's all connected. And I'm just like, what? Like hello, like this is what the MCU has done for the last 20 years, right?
20
with all
years.
these movies. And now they're doing it with this show. They're like, look at all these what if things that are just random and disparate things that happened in all these weird places. And then all of a sudden, Ultron wins, and he attacks the Watcher, and they blow up the multiverse basically. And how's he gonna defeat it? And I think we're gonna see like this kind of multiversal endgame type of situation where Captain Carter and Steve Rogers and Bohunk Thor and Captain Marvel and like all these people show up because they're the only ones that can save the entire multiverse from Ultron. And so, yeah, it's kind of genius. I think that's what we're going to see on Wednesday. I can't wait to see who gets selected to come back. How does the zombie episode fit in, or if it does it at all?
Can you imagine if they recruit the zombie Avengers to fight?
Or just which one would they pick? Probably Zombie Wasp, right? Or the
Zombie Wasp.
Yeah.
Maybe they can get zombie Iron Man to help out.
Yeah. So.
Or what if he just uses Doctor Strange?
I think there's going to be more.
Well,
I think they're going to show us that this whole series has been, again, they wanted us to think it's an anthology, and then they're like, look at us, we're so clever and smart, we tied this all together. Now, if it does happen this way, it's only going to cause absolute chaos on the internet because everyone's going to be, but wait a minute, but how does this, because this line
in the timeline,
it's the multiverse, it's that, and DC has been using this excuse for decades and decades to excuse their poor storytelling.
Yeah, and not nearly as well.
And so Marvel's about to do it geniusly, and we're all going to attack them for not doing, not tying all the loose ends together. Who cares? It's just fun. It's this crazy what if world. And I don't know. I'd love to see them I think the Watcher and Doctor Strange aren't going to be able to do it alone. I think they're going to need some help, and I think they're going to get help.
But how are they going to get out of that bubble?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait till Wednesday.
Maybe they're going to contact these other Avengers somehow, and the multiverse Avengers.
I think the only reason Doctor Strange was in that bubble was because the Watcher wouldn't interfere.
Yeah.
So I feel like the Watcher can very easily get Doctor Strange out of that bubble,
right?
And then go to other bubbles and gather the heroes, and then we're gonna have that kick-ass 360-degree shot like in the Avengers, except with the multiverse Avengers.
Yeah. It'll be cool. I think it'll be something like that. I don't know if it's exactly that, but yeah, I would love to see them all kind of, because they've already hinted, you'll see these characters again. You'll see Captain everyone.
Carter's been hinted at.
And everyone's like, they're going to see Captain Carter in season 2. Maybe we'll see her again in season 1. I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Marvel's doing such a Britney Spears. Oops, we did it again.
Yeah. I love it though. What if? Great show, great fun. Disney is
can't wait for the finale.
I know everybody wants to complain about Disney, but I think they're doing a good job with some of these properties, except for one. And I just want to think that if and I'm just kidding, we're not going to go there.
Except for one.
That's another episode.
Yeah,
that's another episode.
Yeah, it's another episode. I hinted at it earlier in the show, but we're coming up on time. Unfortunately, our guest did not arrive, which is, it's okay. Something obviously held him up. I'm going to check my emails when we're done, make sure that everything's okay with him, and hopefully we can get him on a future episode. Before we do go, I want to give a little kind of shout out for our next week's episode. I'm very excited to be welcoming the show. Hopefully he'll come and show up for this because we actually had him scheduled before, and I had computer problems and he got sick, and the universe and the fates conspired to keep us from meeting together on the show. And that obviously is what's happened with DC as well.
DC Glenn, DC the Brain Supreme.
That's right. But next week we are going to have on the show the Supreme Overlord of Khan on the Cob. He's also the proprietor of Oddmall Emporium, including all the Oddmall festivals that take place all around Ohio and beyond. And he is an artist and game creator with Mother Oath Creations, which is his own creation. And this picture is an accurate depiction of what he looks like. So
I was going to say he hasn't had that checked out yet.
No. I asked him for a headshot. That's what he sent me. He's amazing. Andy Hopp is going to be on the show next week. Love Andy. He's a great friend and just does just so much for the geek community and throws some just amazing conventions and things for folks who are kind of on the just that counterculture, that other side. We just kind of living that life and just doing things differently in the world, and his events just celebrate that. And as we here at World Gone Geek love to celebrate the same things, we're really excited to have him on the show and talk about how he got into all that. It's actually, he's coming, so next week he will be here October 10th. And Khan on the Cob actually begins that week. It starts on Thursday of that week.
Oh,
so
that's right.
He's joining us. He's going to give us a little preview of what's going to come. And then, I'm hoping to actually get involved with some of the things that are happening at Khan on the Cob that week. It's literally happening just up the street from my house.
Just down the street for you.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, it's at a hotel in my neighborhood. So I'm actually going to go and see what's going on.
That's right.
I'll
Jeff
try to get
neighborhood of hotels.
some footage. There are several hotels within not very far from our house. But yeah, I'm going to try to get some footage and bring it back and talk about it on the show after that. And give a little recap of Khan on the Cob. And if either of you guys can join me, we'll see what we can do. I might even try to broadcast live from Khan on the Cob for a little bit.
Oh, that would be so cool.
So we'll see what happens. We'll talk about it when Andy gets here. But so that's next week. Make sure you tune in. It's going to be a great show. We want to thank you for listening or watching or however you took this in tonight. We do apologize again for
telepathically
our guest not being here this week, but we are grateful that you were here and that you listened to the show. We hope you enjoyed our conversation about What If. Watch that show. Watch Squid Game. Follow us on social, all the Facebooks, all the Twitters, all the Instagrams, whatever they are. We're at World Gone Geek. Follow us so we can keep you apprised of what's going on in the world. And we love you guys. We'll see you next time.
The Podcast is Real is a World Gone Geek production.